Perfect. All right, so I'm not sure where the rest of the crew where they are, but also I just want us to, because I want us to be done like by 12 o'clock, to sure that we have time to answer all the questions that were sent through, and we're recording, which is fantastic. But I just want to say welcome everyone. I'm super glad that we're kicking this off. I mean, we're going to talk more about the why later. And so thank you as well for Ji'Brayah for being here and being like our first facilitator for today's session. We cannot wait to learn more from you. And for everyone on the call right now, please feel free to come off. Like, I would love to see your faces. I know it's not compulsory, it's not important, but just to get that feeling of engagement, that we're speaking to people, and just seeing you engage, seeing your face, really help get the whole hour very exciting as well. So if you are probably watching this on replay or just being here, you already know I talked about summer development sessions. It was just an idea that was dropped in my spirit because I feel like, well, summer is most times, all about different things. People travel, people have a great time, people relax, kids are out of school, so many things are going on, during the summer. So how not we seize summer for ourselves? It doesn't have to be something major, but I absolutely believe in the power of knowledge. I don't think that any knowledge is ever wasted. I feel like we can learn something now that will be applicable 5 years, 4 years, 10 years down the line. We just never know, right? And so that's why I put in the group different questions. And this was the most sought out question, around brand your brilliance, branding, career development, and all of that great stuff. And so I wanted us to, I'm always very passionate about what else can I give the women during the field, what else can I give the community of moms? I just want to make sure that everyone is being served, everyone's need is met to an extent, and that that the group is also pouring into you all as much as possible. And hence that's why we're doing what we're doing today, because my goal is that we end summer better than we started it. I don't know how summer started for you, perhaps wonderful, great, but the goal is that we end summer way better than we started it. And I also want to thank everyone who put in their questions. I know in the form you put in your question, and let me tell you, these questions are quite interesting because I looked at the question and I'm like, whoa, okay. I don't say anything career related in this question. And so what we're going to do is I pinged Ji'Brayah today and I said, what, after her session, we're going to use the rest of the time to really go through each of those questions. And let me tell you, I know some people will say what you get for free, you don't appreciate, but I don't want to believe that that's the mindset of people in our community, in Women Doing a Free community of moms, because we're going to use a huge portion of today, really going through each of those questions and really literally coaching you on the call. Because I want you to be able to leave here with, this is what I'm going to do next, right? And if you think about it, you don't get such value like for free, or you don't get such value just easily accessible. And I am blessed that I'm able to provide this for everyone here. So if there's any question you have at all, if you want to, because I didn't put the names on the question, so there's a question that we're going to talk about, and you want to shed more context, you want to ask more clarifying question, you want to make sure that you're really getting the answer. This is your opportunity. This is your space. This is your time, of course, courtesy of the amazing, phenomenal woman we have on the call, Ji'Brayah, and me chiming in as much as possible. This is your time. I don't like, if this is the only thing you get for summer, I want it to be so powerful that if you, at the end of summer, you're like, you know what, I know what I'm doing next. I have clarity. To me, that is going to be the definition of that's going to be the definition of success for all of these summer development sessions. And again, we have more coming up. We have one, I think, by the end of July, and that one in August. So this will be the first of perhaps 3 or 4, and then we end summer. And then by September, looking forward to having a retreat for us as well, and more events later in the towards the second half of the year, right? So again, the goal of this is ending summer better than we started. And so if you're here just because, we're able to get in, like I said before, on the platform of Community of Moms or Women to That Faith, please and please don't see this as ordinary. Don't see this as, oh, I just got it for free, or, no, not at all. We're spending an hour of our time this wonderful Saturday to pour back to you all. And I know even we are here, we're also going to get back. Even March, I'm going to get back to swap. So I just want to say that real quick. And again, like I said, that today's on is all about Brand Your Brilliance. So Brand Your Brilliance is kicking off our summer development session, and the whole focus was more around how to make your personal brand work for you. Like I said, it's going to be very interactive, skill-based workshop, and we're going to talk about career path and how to create that personal brand. But I said earlier, most of the questions weren't really career-centric, so we're just going to go with the questions you ask us, and the questions that were sent, ahead of time. And also talk about opportunities, talk about how do you secure your dream job. I saw questions around how do I secure my dream client. That was a fantastic question. So questions around how can I build my personal brand as a newbie in business. We're going to go into all of that. But with that being said, Ji'Brayah, I want to welcome her being here. She's our speaker today. And as you know, perhaps if you were at the Mother's Day meetup, you remember that she was there. She was one of our amazing, raffle sponsors. She's a personal brand strategist, author of the book, When the Introvert Commands The Room. I apologize. She's all about personal brand. She looks like she's calling herself like the personal brand baddie. I maybe got the name wrong, but she's she's right about personal brand. She believes so much in, having a personal brand that stands out from the crowd. And she helps career women, professional women, stay ahead of their career game by learning how to use their personal brand as a networking tool and beyond their resume. And I know she's also way more than this as well, because not just professional women, even business women, creatives, coaches, and all of that, right? So she's going to be going through some of her slides with us as well. And of course, you all know me. When I was putting up the slide, I was like, do I even need to put up the slide? But again, just for the sake of doing this, my name is Stella. If you're here, I know a couple of people are going to invite their sisters and all of that, but I've not met you before. If I've not had the pleasure of meeting you, I'm the founder of Women Doing the Afraid. We're just literally a community that dedicated to the wholesome development of women, really empowering them to face their fears and educating them to take actionable steps so that they can elevate into the life that they desire. And so this event right now, this summer development session, is one of the ways where we're educating women to take actionable steps so that they can go into that life, they can lead that life that they desire. I'm also an author and I'm also a speaker. And with that being said, Ji'Brayah, I would love to welcome you up on the stage. Let me know if you want to share your screen.
Yes, so hello, ladies. My name is Ji'Brayah Chanai, also known as the Personal Brand Barbie, and I am here to show you how to brand your brilliance. So you've probably been working in your career for the last 10 years, or you may have 15 to 20 years of experience, and you may have been taught to put your head down, do good work, and you'll be promoted. Well, today I'm here to debunk that and show you how to shine, not only in your career, but also make the transition to consulting and coaching in the online space. So I'm really excited to have you guys here. As you can see on the screen, I am the author of a new book called When the Introvert Commands The Room. Launch your career with a personal brand that stands out from the crowd. Now, most people don't believe me, but I am a total introvert, okay? Total introvert. I shy away from talking too much. My friends know that if they text me, they may not hear back from me for some time because small talk is overwhelming. And my ladies in the room who are introverts, you guys definitely relate to this. And introversion shouldn't be something that holds us back in our career. And I'm here to kind of break the mold with that, and then also talk about how to break glass ceilings as Black women in corporate America, Black women in the online space, and so on. So now that I've done my introduction, I want to get to know the ladies on the call just a little bit more. So tell me these three things: your name, the city or country you're representing, and if you had a superpower, what would it be? I'm gonna start with Paula, because I love that shirt she has on.
Oh, thank you, thank you. My name is Paula, and the country I represent is quite interesting because I'm half Nigerian and half American, so I represent both of them equally. If I had a superpower, what would it be? Part of me, the first thing that came up was to be invisible. But then
Paula.
But I'm like, no, I would want to actually read the minds of other people.
That's a good one. That is a good one. All right, who's next on my list? PJ. I have your name, so tell me the city or country you're representing, and if you had a superpower, what would it be?
Okay, my name is PJ, and I'm representing Nigeria right now. I'm aspiring to be a US citizen very soon, by God's grace. And also the superpower that I would like to have is the power to change the world. Yeah.
I love that. Thank you, PJ. And then Viola, tell me, what city or country are you representing? And if you had a superpower, what would it be?
Hi, everyone. My name is Biola. I'm representing Nigeria. And I apologize, my camera is not on. But if I had a superpower, it would be to operate and be functional with just 2 hours of sleep per day.
That'd be a blessing, but what are you doing with the 22 hours?
Oh my goodness, that's 1,001 things to do. It doesn't look like 24 hours is enough.
I feel you with that. I'm not the best when it comes to time management. So if I could power up in 2 hours as a mom, yeah, that's superpower. Thank you, ladies, for giving me your rundown. I think we have one more guest, Tatiana. Right now, we are doing quick introductions on your name, which obviously I already know, the country or city you're representing, and if you had a superpower, what would it be?
Oh my gosh. Good morning, everyone.
Morning.
As she said, I am representing Houston, Texas. If I had a superpower, ooh, gonna have to give me a second on that one, as well, the first thing that comes to mind for some reason is the superpower of emotional intelligence, like immediately being able to resonate with the other person's state so that I can connect with them the way they need to be connected with. So I don't know if that's currently a superpower, but we're going to invent that today.
I'm here for it. I am here for it. All right, ladies, so now we got into the introduction. I'm gonna pull up my presentation, but I'm not teaching you today. This is not a professor classroom setting, but I do have some cute graphics that I wanna, get your eyes on, and we are gonna proceed from there. I'm sure you can see my screen now, so we're gonna get this party started, but if you can see my screen with my presentation, give me a thumbs up, and then we're gonna get rolling. Perfect. So while this is Brand Your Brilliance, I wanted to bring something to the stage. A lot of you ladies, if you're introverted or maybe you keep your head down, there's something that we all may have struggled with in our career, and that is imposter syndrome. Imposter syndrome is something that holds so many women back, in particular Black women, where we feel like we have the qualifications, but we kind of internally disqualify ourselves from new opportunities because we don't look like our peers, we don't speak like our peers, and we don't have the same access to networks as our peers. And that oftentimes stops us from branding our brilliance, from speaking out loud about the victories that we've had in our career, from being loud and confident in our wins and our team wins, and accepting like applause. Sometimes your manager will say, "Oh, you did such a great job." And instead of saying thank you, you'll say, "Oh yeah, but it just took me so long to figure it out." And you kind of start to water down your achievements. Has anybody experienced that? Put a little reaction in the comments if this is something you can relate to. And this is something that's a part of imposter syndrome, and it stops us from branding our brilliance. So in order to learn how to brand your brilliance, we got to get over this hill first. And this is going to be open discussion, so don't feel like I'm just going to be preaching to you. You guys are going to give me some feedback as well. So last time you got a compliment from your manager, what response did you give them? And this could be a manager, it could be client feedback. What was the response that you guys gave? And Stella, you can jump in as well.
Absolutely. I think Paula wants to speak. Paula, go for it.
Oh, I was going to say this happened to me recently, actually, last week. I was telling my manager that exactly what she said. Oh, it took me so long. And he was like, "You do know that you're the first person that ever has done this and nobody else wanted to do it." He was like, "No one cares how long it took you, but you did really good." I'm like, "Well, there was timelines and deadlines." He was like, "Screw that, you did a really great job." And I was still kind of like convincing him that he actually cut me off and was just like, "You know what, like, this is awesome. So you're going to be like DRI for doing this and to write a run book and teach other people." So that happened.
Yes, Paula, look, I don't know how God put that scenario. This happens all the time with me and Stella. God always puts the exact scenario on my mind. And somebody's like, "Yeah, that's my story. How'd you know?"
Yeah.
And that blocks you from branding your brilliance, because that's a time for you to say, "Hey, this is my trophy moment." And when that biannual evaluation comes around, that's at the top of everybody's mind when you want that promotion. And if you see how the economy and inflation's going, you're going to need that promotion really soon. So it's important to learn how to brand your brilliance so you can start marketing how awesome you are and set yourself up for that next promotion or that next raise, because you deserve more money, especially when you're taking on projects that people have been afraid to touch. Now, after hearing Paula's story, you guys, what do you think she could have changed in that scenario? And it's something that I go through as well. But how do you guys think Tatiana could have responded to her manager when he said, wow, you did so amazing on this project that everybody has been trying to avoid? What would have been the ideal response from Paula?
I mean, I can jump in, of course. I think at that point in time, I probably would have owned it and say, thank you so much. You know, first of all, start with gratitude. And then lean into it a little bit more. Perhaps said, well, I'll be happy to show other people who haven't done this, or I'm happy to do a presentation, because then now you're amplifying your brand way beyond your manager. And you want to be in front of other people that don't know who you are, right? So I think that's probably what I would have done in that situation as well.
Yes, that is precisely correct. And honestly, I have the same story. So as a little girl, I always wanted to feel seen and heard. And I've always been a natural born leader, but I had a little bit of anxiety when it came to my confidence, and I allowed opportunities to pass me by. If I could paint the picture of what I looked like as a little girl, funny enough, I have it right here on my desk. So this is 7-year-old Ji'Brayah growing up. And yeah, this age range was definitely difficult for me. I was an older sister. I had 2 younger brothers. Well, I had 1 brother at this time. And I was always taught to figure things out on my own. But when it came to confidence, I was just a bit on the lower scale. A lot of you guys can probably relate to this, but growing up being the darker friend and then being the, a little chunkier friend, I was often overlooked. I wouldn't say picked on, but sometimes isolated and not really favored like my other classmates. And that had a large impact on my confidence growing up. And I found myself kind of minimizing my genius for so long because of those differences. And if you guys can relate to that, let me know. Put your hands up, clap your hands emoji, because I want to know if you guys can relate to this story. And so although I was a natural born leader, the struggles that I had with my confidence kind of let opportunities pass me by growing up. And as I got older and more confident in myself, and honestly, the way the world's seen, dark-skinned Black women shifted during my time, and it's, later 2000s, I began to build my confidence up. And it didn't just happen because of me, but the people around me started to pour into me. Mentorships, teachers, and opportunities helped me blossom. So I turned around and started to help other women find their confidence, not only in themselves and their identity, but also in their superpowers and their skill set. And that's how I got here today. So I want you to know that you are in good company. And if you're here, these are the things that apply to you. You're ambitious and ready for new opportunities. Clap your hands, that's you. You have good energy and morals. I love the Lord, I love Jesus. If that's not your T, that's cool, but that's my T. So, I have to give you this disclaimer. You have a gift and you're ready to use it. And then you want to support other leaders. If that's you, clap your hands, clap your hands. All right, so how to get the most out of this experience. This is going to be extremely interactive. I'm going to present some scenarios and I'm going to present some questions. And if you have any questions and things you want to clarify when it comes to branding your brilliance, this is the perfect opportunity to ask. This summer experience, me and Stella, we talked over the course of the last few weeks, and we said, we want women to end the summer better than they came into the summer. Right? So the career goals that you outlined January 2023, now we're in the middle of the year. We have to get very clear on those goals and chase them down. If there's one thing that life has taught us, it's nobody's coming to save you. If you want something, you have to be there to get it done. Jesus is going to, he's going to light the pathway for you, but if you don't put your feet down on the ground, it's just not going to happen. And that's why we're bringing you guys Brand Your Brilliance. So why do you need a personal brand? Before I give you the technical reasoning, I want to know what you ladies think. You guys have been in your career for at least 5, 10, 15, even upwards to 20 years. Why do you think you need a personal brand? I'm going to call on PJ. PJ, why do you think we need a personal brand? And if anyone wants to jump in and help PJ, feel free.
I feel like you need a personal brand because you're able to sell yourself with it. You're able to show I am unique and I deserve what you're paying me and some more.
Yes, you hit it on the head with that, Viola. Anyone else have a definition for personal branding? She kind of hit out the park with that one, but I'm open to one more perspective.
I think it's helpful so that it is a constant reminder of your authenticity and what you bring to the table. It's here is who I am, and it's a reminder that I can serve in who I am while still adding value to others' lives. And it inspires other people to brand themselves in an authentic way as well.
Yes, I'm here for that. That's so on point. So you guys kind of hit out the park, but I'm still going to give you a little technical definition. Okay. So what is a personal brand? If you have a notebook, pen and paper, notes in your phone, you definitely want to take notes because I'm actually testing you guys to apply this in real time. I'm going to follow everybody on LinkedIn and Instagram and DM you guys individually to make sure that you're applying these things to your personal brand this summer. So make sure you have your notes. So personal branding refers to the intentional process of managing and promoting your unique identity, expertise, and value proposition. It involves crafting a distinct image, reputation, and presence that aligns with your goals, your values, and desired perception you want to have in and outside of the workplace. And it's not just limited to professionals and entrepreneurs. It's actually relevant to anybody who wants to stand out from the crowd and have a meaningful impact in their field or area of interest. A lot of the ladies on this call are from different countries, and there's impact that you want to make in your community, especially when you come over to a new country, a new world, and your family's rooting for you. You want to show up in all spaces with, hey, I came here with a goal in mind. I'm taking you guys on a journey with me, whether it's virtual or in person. And these are the amazing things and opportunities that I have kind of paved the way for during my time here. So I got about a 6.7 notes that I want to share with you guys on the importance of building a personal brand and why you need it. The first one is to differentiate yourself. So there's something that we all have that our parents told us is going to be just life-changing, and that's a degree. But then everybody else's parents told them the same thing. And now we're in a world of people who have the same degrees as us, even up to, I've met women with 3, 4, 5 degrees, right? So in order to be different than those at the crowd, those at the job interviews, you want to have a very distinct and memorable impression on people. What does that look like? That can be down to your identity, how you show up in your image, your personal image. Are you a woman who wears red lipstick everywhere you go? And people can anticipate that you're going to always have on a bomb red lipstick. It could even be down to your scent. And when it comes to your unique qualities and skills, you're bringing a perspective to the group that has not been seen before. Like how Paula went and volunteered to do an assignment that everybody has been trying to avoid. That was her standing out from the crowd because she could have just blended in with her coworkers and said, that's just too much work. That's not on my pay scale. Y'all figure it out. She could have been like that, but she decided to set herself out from the crowd. And that's how she made herself different. Now, if Paula was to go and apply for a new job and they said, tell me about yourself, or tell me about a time that you had X, Y, and Z. Paula, that scenario is exactly what you would describe during the job interview. You would leverage that opportunity and say, actually, I have a great story in mind. It just happened in 2023. While on the job, my manager had a problem, X, Y, and Z. I took time away from my general scope to figure out how to solve this issue. I use these steps, A, B, C, and D. You use the SMART method to explain, the SMART goal method to explain that. From those steps, I was able to achieve D. After doing that, my manager complimented you by saying A, B, and C. When I tell you you're going to get the job, if you tell that story correctly, you're going to knock it out the park. So that's how you make yourself different, is by showcasing how your skills are unique and the quality experiences that you bring to the table can help that new team or even your clients. That also rolls into career advancement when we talked about new opportunities, promotions, and collaborations. Don't just work in your team. Work outside of your team. Even when it comes down to volunteering, if they're doing a 5K walk and you see the poster, connect with the host and say, hey, I actually have a t-shirt press company. I'd like to volunteer my services. Or I have a friend who has water bottles with handles on it. Here's his information. By sticking out from your team and collaborating cross-functionally, you learn how to really create a positive influence and a positive reputation outside of your small bubble. And visibility is extremely important when it comes to being successful. And now that we're working in this remote space, it's kind of a disadvantage because you're not bumping into people in the hallway. You are very limited in your engagement. So now we have to learn how to be more creative in how we collaborate with people. So using those small tactics, if you see something happening on a social standpoint, reaching out to the host and creating that collaboration connection so people can know your name and know your gifts and all your glory. Another awesome point about building a personal brand is building credibility and trust. People want to trust that you do good work. We just can't assume that you do good work because you have degrees and experiences. You got to be your best cheerleader. And by demonstrating your expertise, how reliable you are, and your commitment to excellence, you can do these things. Now, here's an actionable step. Reaching out to all your past coworkers this summer on LinkedIn and saying, hey, I hope you're doing well. I'm so happy to see that your career is moving and grooving. I would love to leave you a review on the experiences that I had working alongside you a couple of years ago. And if you don't mind, I'd love if you could leave me a review in exchange. This helps you build credibility and trust on your LinkedIn profile. Some recruiters are looking for you. There's some type of cadence in how you actually engage in the workplace, because we can all go in interviews and say like, yeah, I'm the best and I'm just so easy to work with and I'm go lucky. We probably had coworkers who said that in the interview, and then they come and sit next to you, you be like, who hired this lady? This lady is from like a back from the dark place, right? So if you want to build strong credibility, especially in remote work, have your previous managers and coworkers leave public reviews on your LinkedIn account. Go ahead and start warming up those conversations. Hey, I see you're at Home Depot now. That's so awesome. Tell me more about that experience. Or, hey, I saw your kid is getting so big. I'm so excited for you guys. I'm new in motherhood and I want to stay connected with you. Start building up those relationships. So when it's time for you to ask for a recommendation or referral or a public review, it's an easy exchange, and it doesn't feel like you're trying to be transactional. The next part is influence and impact. So I have this little thing where I say, I'm not an influencer, I'm an impactor. I want to get it on a t-shirt. So you guys know a t-shirt lady, let me know. I'm not an influencer, I'm an impactor. So a well-defined personal brand empowers an individual to have influential thought genius, which is like my remix of thought leadership, in your respective domain and industry. So you share your valuable insights. Maybe you do a newsletter. Maybe you create weekly comments on something that's happening on LinkedIn, but you're sharing your perspective and also making a positive impact to inspire others. Because when we think about the people who have been promoted, it's not always because they're the best candidate. Typically, it's because they just have some type of aura, some influence and impact with the decision makers, and they're able to go up the ranks. Why do we keep trying to fight against that? If that's the name of the game in corporate America, we have to learn how to play it, and that comes with being influential and impactful. The next and last thing I'm going to touch on for this is opportunity magnets. Oh my gosh, I cannot share enough about how much being visible and having a strong personal brand has aligned more opportunities for me than having a degree or just showing up at work and putting my head down. Recently, I joined this group called Toastmasters, which I encourage all you guys to do. Please join your local Toastmasters. It's virtual and it's in person. Every woman I talk to is like, yeah, I seen it a couple years ago and I'm thinking about it. Stop thinking about it. Just do it. We can all be better public speakers. A lot of reasons why we shy away from talking is because we don't practice. We just assume that we're going to open our mouth one day and be Joel Osteen or somebody. No, you have to practice. So in regards to opportunity magnet, funny enough, God told me to walk to church one day. I walked 40 minutes to church. During the sermon, the pastor made a joke about Toastmasters. God told me to looked it up, found out the meeting was across the street on Wednesday, went to the meeting, and I've been going for the last 6 weeks. Well, guess what? The people in there have just been very attracted to me. Like, I'm young, I'm Black, when you're younger in the room and just really a newbie, something about them they like. Well, one of the ladies in there, she's over Leaders of Tomorrow, which is like a group for the youth. And she was like, hey, we have a speaking engagement at Georgia Tech. Do you want to be the moderator? Me? Yeah, of course, definitely. So having a strong personal brand becomes your opportunity magnet. Being at the right place at the right time becomes your opportunity magnet. And that can be a part of your story too. Oftentimes you're online, like, how did this person get in the room? How did they get this opportunity? They were just at the right place at the right time. I cannot tell you guys how many times I'm just at a networking event and I just meet somebody who just completely transforms the way I do business. And they connect me with other people that are doing business 10 times better than me. And now I'm a part of a whole new network and they're teaching me some amazing things. Oftentimes we hire coaches and consultants. I'm a consultant to teach us the way. But I honestly feel like the first step is for you to go outside and start networking and seeing what relationships you can start to build. Because sometimes those people can teach you the same thing, maybe at a less intensive rate, but the same thing that a coach would teach you. And then you learn the steps, try to figure it out on your own. And if it's a bust, then you go into the next step of hiring a coach or consultant to help you piece all those things together. So your personal brand becomes an opportunity magnet. Now, for my ladies who've taken notes, what actionable strategy from this portion do you intend to apply to your personal brand in July? And don't all raise your hands at once, but go.
The first thing that I would definitely do, the most easy for me, is to start reaching out on LinkedIn and get endorsements and endorsing other people. There are, as you were speaking, I'm like, oh, there's a list of people in my head that's kind of like running. Okay, I can reach out to them. And also, my LinkedIn is not up to date, and it doesn't really show who I am today and what I've been doing. So that can also be like something I can do.
Yes, I have a motto. It's stay ready so you don't have to get ready. We are in an interesting climate and you could be the best employee in the room, but if that budget gets cut, they have no problem with closing the door on you. So having a LinkedIn that's locked and loaded at all times is going to be so beneficial to you. So Paula, today is July 8th. I'm checking your Instagram, July 5th, your LinkedIn on July 15th to make sure you've optimized your page and given and gotten at least one endorsement. Can I hold you to that challenge?
That's awesome. Yes.
Drop your LinkedIn in the comments, please. All right, anyone else? What did you just take away that's an actionable step that you can take this summer in regards to building your personal brand?
I think for me, it's also the LinkedIn profile. I can't even remember what my name is on there. I haven't done it in like maybe 6 years. So that's going to be a challenge for me too. So that's one thing I'm going to do.
Okay, I'm not judging you, I promise. Stella, we're gonna have a LinkedIn session this summer, okay?
I literally just typed it right now in the chat, like you're reading my mind. Because I mean, for my students, LinkedIn is never a problem, but just like, you know what? Yeah, the community, yeah, definitely the LinkedIn session will be a good one to add for summer.
Yes. All right, what about my other ladies? What takeaway do you have from what I just taught you guys in regards to your personal brand that I'm going to hold you to completing this summer? I spoke about Toastmasters. I talk about updating your identity, your personal image. I talked about bragging on yourself, LinkedIn, of course. What other things did you take away from this? Because I'm holding everybody on this call accountable, plus the community platform that Stella hosts.
Definitely wonderful actionable steps. Ji'Brayah, I think all of them are like, the LinkedIn one is super. I don't think a lot of people consider that, especially past co-workers, reaching out to them and just checking in. Just because you left the company doesn't mean you cut off that network. Hopefully we left great references when we left the companies, right? And I think it also boils down to being memorable as well, because you can leave a company and forget who you are. And so maybe when you're reaching back out to those past colleagues, you can say something specific that they might remember or that would remind them of who you are. I'm like, hey, I remember when we worked together, you know, how's everything going? And yeah, I think the LinkedIn recommendation is definitely a good one to do. Like your track record.
Mm-hmm.
And nowadays, I mean, any employer or recruiter will always definitely check you out on LinkedIn. That's one of their like top 2, top 3 places you'll be checking out on. So.
Yes, they're not only recruiters and employers, but also clients when you want to move into the coaching or online space, because it is so quote unquote saturated. People want to know that you're credible. They want to know that you've done good work outside of just popping up online and saying, hey, I have an ebook, I have a course, I have X, Y, and Z. Your LinkedIn is going to be a great track record for if you actually have done any work before. And then if you do good work, if you have any endorsements and reputations, that helps them make that buying decision if you ever want to move into the coaching and consultant space. Now I have a little guide up on the screen if you want to screenshot that and take that for your notes on how you can update your headline on LinkedIn. It'd probably be easier for you to screenshot it. And I'm checking LinkedIn on July 15th to make sure these updates are made to your headline. And there's a bunch of articles and blogs, and me and Stella are going to we'll have to ask Stella, maybe we'll bring a new session for LinkedIn. But these are some things that you can do to update your headline on LinkedIn. Let me know when you capture that, because I have a few examples, and then we're going to roll into the Q&A. All right, I'm going to move on to the next slide so you can capture those notes. The LinkedIn process. So you would start with the headline, which is your job title. Be specific. So for me, I'm working visual merchandising as a project planning analyst. I will put that as my title and then say helping, X do Y. I'm trying to not be too specific in what I'm doing because it's a corporation, but I'll show you guys on the next slide. Sales rep, helping tech companies automate their accounting with automated expense reports. So that would be your LinkedIn headline. You get straight to the point on how you help people do things. And there's a variety of ways to update your LinkedIn. And this is all a part of your personal brand, but Brand Your Brilliance is about actionable steps you can take. This is not about general advice. No, these are steps that I intend for you guys to take by July 15th, okay? Now, you'll see some examples here on this slide on how you can update your LinkedIn. So this is basically a cheat sheet. So go ahead and capture this for your notes. And these are some updates you can make to your LinkedIn. So as we see with Elizabeth, lead consultant in soft skills training, transforming SMB and corporate clients on African investment opportunities. She got straight to the point, the title, the type of company she works at, and then her unique selling proposition, my apologies. And then we skip over to Kelsey, which is point number 3, benefits of working with you, keywords related to your niche, and then your personal touch. So for Kelsey, she says, helping millions of startups grow better by building marketing, sales, and service processes that accelerate sales growth. All right, so screenshot that for your notes. And then we're gonna move into the Q&A for Brand Your Brilliance. Stella's going to give her insight, and then we're gonna stay connected, okay?
Awesome. All right. I am going to go ahead and
the life of a mom. Kids do not care what you have going on. While Stella is wrangling her little tots, does anybody have any questions in regards to part 1 of Brand Your Brilliance? We'll be bringing this back, so don't fret. I know the time went by really, really fast. But I wanted to give you guys some actionable steps you can take for part 1. So when we come back for the part 2 session, you've already gotten the ball rolling on the first part of actionable steps you can take in your personal brand, which is updating your LinkedIn headline and summary report, as well as your headshots, but we'll talk about that in the next one. In other ways, you can brag about yourself inside of corporate America and in the online space. So if you have any questions, let me know, and then I'll let Stella take over.
Perfect. Eric, can you just help me stop sharing? Thank you so much, Ji'Brayah. That was absolutely very insightful. So we're going to go towards the questions that were sent ahead of time. So I think this should be fun. Now you can see my screen. All right. So the question was, how do I reach my market audience? And I know that's such a broad question, but the person who sent it was, I think they were more in like the event management space and things like that. So, and I think this question can also be applicable to anyone on here, depending on what market audience is. And the way I read this question, I don't just interpret it as from a business owner perspective. It could also be a career professional. Your market audience could be key stakeholders within your company that you want them to see who you are, or things like that. So how do I reach my market audience? That's the first question.
So let me think of a scenario, because this can totally go both ways when it comes to having a business as well as in your career. But I would say, let's say you have a business. How do I reach my market audience? Say this person is a caterer, okay? They're in a catering space and their specialty is African cuisine. So obviously we would think, okay, well, their target market may be African families because they have large parties, from weddings to birthday parties. Everything is just grand and big and spectacular. But what if they wanted to attract corporate clients and be a caterer for those events? So say they wanted to partner with Home Depot for their Juneteenth, right? How would they reach that market audience? I would say the first thing they would do was build a presence not only on LinkedIn, which would be obvious because you want corporate clients, but also on YouTube, so people can learn your personality, the cleanliness of your kitchen, your method with cooking. Do you follow the health and guideline standards? People want to know who they're working with, who's serving their food, especially from a personal perspective. So if you are a caterer in the African cuisine space and you want to think about reaching your market audience and their corporate clients, we will build a presence on both LinkedIn and YouTube. YouTube is where we'll learn your personality, the techniques you use to clean. And then LinkedIn is where you would connect with the stakeholders and the decision makers when it comes to who picks out the caterers. And that would be the administrative assistant. So think very creatively who you want to reach out to and who that market audience would be. So I would connect with all the admin assistants in that corporate space. And so like, hey, for your next catering event, I would love to bring a unique perspective to the meeting. I think that this would definitely hit it out the park. My name is X, Y, and Z. Feel free to check out my YouTube channel. And I'm also, offering a 20% off for all summer orders. I love to come in and send out a free lunch tray for you guys to get a taste of my food for your next event. So that's the unique way you can use your personal brand to reach your market audience.
I think that's so fantastic, especially how you talked about the LinkedIn part is for corporate. And I think if there's anything I want everyone to remember here, it's like this different social media platforms all serve different needs. Most times they're so all hands-on in one. And I know we usually get that feedback and advice about master one social media platform before you move on to another one, which I think makes absolute sense because you cannot be spread thin, right? But I believe each social media platform also serves different things. So like you say, LinkedIn, there'll be a place for like corporate, very, button up and everything. Instagram, I put Instagram in the chat because that you can show behind the scene, also a bit of a personality, and then you talked about YouTube, which is fantastic because then they can see the way you work. So literally showing different part of who you are. And so that leads up to our next question. Like, how do you start a personal brand or business brand when you have multiple niches and you have not narrowed your target audience? And I think this is such a very common question because people are realizing that we're multi-passionate. And for so long, it's almost like the advice of coaches keep changing all the time. And that's why I'm like, just go with what it's in your gut, go with what you believe works for you, because someone can tell you this doesn't work. And tomorrow that same person can come back and say, oh, we changed our mind, or we weren't sure, or things like that. Because I know that I've heard so many times about, yes, there's riches in the niches. You got a niche down, you got a niche down. And there's truth in that. But there are also people as well who have absolutely done fantastic work of actually being spread across and in a very unique way, they've been able to bring together all the different hats that they wear. Other people understand seasons, other people understand time. So you probably get different advices from different kind of advice from different kinds of people. But I think it's such an important question because I know a lot of people who are stuck because they're like, what lane do I start with? I can be great at everything. So which lane do I focus on? So what is your perspective on this question?
So I would always say outline your goals. Do you have a profit goal? Do you have a visibility goal? What is that thing? And you start there and you anchor down. So I would use myself as an example. So when it comes to my personal and business brand, crazy enough, I've had this same frustration. I own a boutique agency where I help Black women, executives, CEOs, and thought leaders establish their personal brand with a done-for-you service. So I essentially help them build up the foundation of their personal brand, outlining their CEO story, their mission, their vision, their statement, all those things. Then helping them build out their one-page website, optimizing their LinkedIn, right? From there, we also host a photo and video shoot for them to create a batch of professional content that can be shared on both LinkedIn, Instagram, and another short form platform. And then I help them create a strategy for their thought leadership so they can attract speaking engagement, podcast guesting, and if they want to co-host or be invited to be a speaker to conferences. And that's a done for you service on a whole new platform with a different audience. My audience for that are women in their 30s and 40s. And that's a totally different audience, right? Well, then I got kind of frustrated because my primary audience on social media are millennials and Gen X, like a younger division. And I'm like, okay, well, they're obviously not in a position for this $10,000 offer, nor are they in a space where they need these things. But they don't want that type, they don't want to hear that type of content. They want to know how to build the beginning of their career, how to move into the online space when corporate America sucks for them and they decided they want to retire early and move into the online space. So I'm like, how the heck am I going to educate, entertain, and create content for these different demographics? It became frustrating, but I had to take some time to just create and see what my audience wanted from me. Just putting out educational things, and then took that feedback and curated my marketing to that. And it helped me narrow down my target audience. And I had to decide, okay, on this platform, I'm going to utilize it to talk to millennials. And on this other platform, I'm going to utilize it to promote my done for you service. And that's how I created that division and figuring out how to brand my different niches. Now, when it comes to narrowing down your target audience, the people will tell you what they want. The people will tell you if you're the person that's going to serve them. So I would say, keep showing up, share your creative geniuses, share your perspective on different topics. And as you see the type of people that engage with you, who ask you for more, who want to work with you, that becomes your target audience. It's not so much about, in the beginning, who you want to work with. It's about whose problems do you solve. And that's how you discover who your target audience is. And then the last layer of this, when it says how to start a personal brand with multiple niches, I would say, and just incorporate your entire lifestyle into your branding. So for me, I'm a mama, I'm a stylish girl. I recently have a garden, I work in corporate America, and I'm a consultant. How do I mix all these things together? Today, I was in my garden, I recorded some content, and I talked about the power of building community, because someone came over to help me pull up all the weeds, and I had a bunch of weeds in my garden, and she just educated me on the type of bugs that were there, the weeds, how I needed to rake up the dirt to pull the weeds from the root, and how building that community in the garden was helping me build a more flourishing plot, but also how we can use this in our business and our career. And so I changed my content and my copy to kind of translate on both ends, and I was able to use that type of content to educate and show people what's happening in my life, versus trying to go down the Instagram reels and replicate somebody dancing and pointing and lip syncing. That's just not me. And I had to accept that's not me. I can record behind the scenes content of my life and this translate it over into, here's why you should build community. This helped me in my physical garden, but this can also help you in the garden of building your community online.
Absolutely.
So that's
Thank you so much for sharing that. I love the application from the gardening and connecting that back to your messaging. And I think that messaging got clearer by the time you just put our content out there. You just really never know. And I think when we stifle our voice, we never know what voice needs to be heard. So it's like, oh, this doesn't sound right, or maybe I shouldn't do that. That moment you think you shouldn't do something, I think that's the moment you should actually do it. Because I mean, what's the worst that can happen? What's really the best that can happen as well? And everyone is just so unique. You know, I think comparison as well has really made us feel like, oh, maybe I should do this way or do that way. Just literally just step out and be yourself. I don't care if I'm talking down your ear on agile or talking down your ear on career. That's just, you know, just hone into what you feel super passionate about, I think, and just get started. Yes, by the end of the summer, we're all getting started on anything that we've been sitting on for so long. Alrighty, so let's move on to the next couple of questions that we have. So we had a question around, I would like to know how to brand myself in order to attract and network with the right customers, job, and friends. I think the context of this question, this person is in a career shift season of their life, and they'd like to know how to brand themselves in order to attract and network with the right customers, job, and friends. And I think you've touched on some of the actionable steps that can be taken. I think there's anything else you wanted to add?
Yeah, so this actually brings me back to my high school motto, which was, be where you're supposed to be, doing what you're supposed to be doing. There is so much opportunity in just serving, in just simply serving. And that can be serving in the church, that can be serving at an event, that could be volunteering for an event. If you live in Atlanta the same way that I do, or any major city anywhere, if there's an event conference going on, 9 times out of 10, the host is going to look for volunteers around that latter portion of their promotion. Sign up to be a volunteer. I recently volunteered early this year for these like mega CEO ladies. And I did it for free, learned a lot about them, got to attend the conference for free. And that put me in the line side of visibility. So when I wanted to connect with them in the future, they already knew me by name. And then crazy enough, one of the ladies decided to pay us for our time. She's like, I don't make anybody work for me for free. So she ended up paying us for volunteering. The second portion of be where you're supposed to be doing what you're supposed to be doing. I attended a workshop a couple months ago as well. And like I said, I do creative direction. Well, the ladies were taking pictures with their books, and I jumped in and said like, oh, let me help you take those pictures. Let me help you guys pose. Well, the host was watching and she was like, I want to hire you to do pose coaching for my conference in October. This coach, she makes millions of dollars. Like, she's a legit lady. She paid me 4 figures to come do creative direction and pose coaching at her live event, all because I was where I'm supposed to be, doing what I'm supposed to be doing. So to answer this question, go out and serve, make yourself visible, do what you're supposed to be doing, what God told you to do, and the opportunities will honestly come to you. But you got to leave your house to do it. And if you're scared to leave your house, you're going to stifle your progress. But there's ways for you to do this in the online space, which is engaging in comments and discussions and talking about hot topics and sharing your perspective.
Thank you for sharing that. I know we just had someone new just joined the call. Welcome, Sierra. We're at the question and answer list, the latter portion of today's session. The record is going to be shared after, just in case you want to catch up on what was shared before. But thank you for adding that, Ji'Brayah, about volunteering. And that reminded me about the Bible verse that says, whatever your hands finds to do, just do it well, right? I think that's really the major one. Just like you said, service, volunteering, being authentic to yourself, saying yes. And I'm going to go over my slide much later. But the other question around branding small steps for a total newbie in business. So someone's a total newbie in business. How do they brand their business?
Yeah, so branding your business. Don't think about logos and colors and font. Think about your thought genius. What is your area of expertise and how consistently can you show up and share that perspective? If you want to get into, maybe you got, who's on the call who's moving into, who's a brand new small business? I can just give you guys advice right now.
Okay.
Tell me fast, whoever it is, and then I'll just create the scenario for you to answer this question. You don't have to be the person who asks this question, but if it applies to you, just throw it at me. Branding small steps for a total newbie. So who's a total newbie and what are you doing?
This applies to me, but this is not my question. So I want the person who questioned it is to speak up, but maybe they left. I'm starting Salesforce consulting, like a consulting firm. I want to teach people Salesforce and then also consult for other businesses.
Yes. So for you, I would say you would start a blog or a vlog sharing the different perspectives of how to use Salesforce. Who's Salesforce for? Who should run away from Salesforce? Who it won't work for? How it works? Educate people on just the platform on its own. How much of an expert are you in this? And then how can you bring your personality into it? And again, it's not about the logos, the fonts, and all those things. It's about sharing your thought genius. Pick one platform and start there. How consistently can you show up on that platform, sharing your expertise? And be okay with the fact that you're not going to get any engagement for some time. But if you continue to share and fix it as you go, you're going to increase your brand visibility, but it's going to happen in small steps. I think sometimes we're scared to speak to an empty room, but that's the only way for you to get better and for you to get comfortable in front of the camera and sharing those steps. So I would say to that, creating video or short form content to explain the do's and don'ts of Salesforce and how people can leverage it in their business. You can decide to do a YouTube channel just using your iPhone. You could decide to start to host a business podcast on Salesforce. There's so many small perspectives you can do it in. I would say be okay with talking to an empty room for a while, get comfortable. And as you grow, opportunities will come to you and you'll start to align yourself with new things. And then last but not least, set up a Dubsado account. That's going to be the bread and butter of your new consulting business. You don't need anything else but that Dubsado account, $40 a month. From there, you can build an email list when you feel like it, but Dubsado is going to be the first starting point, because once people get into your content, you need to bring them somewhere, which is a free consultation. And then the first leveraging anchor part of that is content. What kind of content can you consistently create, Paula? That's where you'll go from there. So consistent content, short form, long form, whether it's podcast, YouTube, blog posts, post snippets on social media, and then create that Dubsado account where people can book free consultation calls. That's where you host your contract, proposals, and so on. So you have somewhere to bring people to. You don't need to build an email list at first. Just build up your brand visibility.
Nice. Thank you so much. It was really useful.
You're
I have
welcome.
a question.
Okay, go ahead, Viola.
I think maybe that was my question, I'm not sure. But what if the business is, say, something that is really saturated, like the skincare, like clean skincare business? How do you brand that and stand out in the saturated business?
So it doesn't matter that it's saturated. Every day I buy a new brand of water bottle of coconut water. I just go spend $3.99 to $5.99 to $6.99 on coconut water, depending on what TikTok I watched that week that told me, hey, the one you've been drinking is actually not real coconut water. Okay, thanks. Then I go and buy a $6.99 one. I'm like, this was kind of gross. Then I go and buy the $8.99 one. I'm like, this is good, but this is pretty expensive. So it being saturated doesn't matter. What matters is the influence, the impact that your individual product makes and how you can share that. So are you paraben free? Are you scent free? Do you gear towards people with eczema? For me, I just got sun poison the other day and everything I put on my skin is burning. So does Biola skincare help with, when I'm out in the sun? Does it help with sunburn? What is that unique perspective you bring? Keep educating on that over and over and over and over again until it annoys every single person on the benefits of your individual product, and people will begin to buy into it. Every woman has 30 to 40 different products in her beauty cabinet. So don't feel like it's too oversaturated. You'll just be one of the 30 to 40 in that cabinet. But tell us what's so special about your skincare product. Will it help me with my hyperpigmentation? Will it help me not have to wear makeup every single day to feel beautiful? What is that thing that's going to help me? Like, what is that thing in your product that's going to change the way I see myself in beauty? That's going to be your marketing standpoint. And then decide what platform your target audience is on. If you're gearing towards older women, middle-aged women, millennial women, and then from there, we decide which platform can you consistently show up on and talk about that 1 or 2 star highlights and benefits of your skincare product. Let me know if that helped.
Yes, it does. Thank you.
I love it. So everyone is saying yes to doing a 30 days Go Live challenge. We're going to talk about that later. Stepping out of our comfort zone and talking more about our brands online, our businesses. All right. So we're 3 minutes past the hour, but just wanted to end with this. I wanted to just say thank you so much, everyone, for the question. This has been super, super insightful. I feel like we could literally keep going on and on. I don't know if anyone has any last minute question they want to add on here, but for me, I just want to talk about the power of raised hands. I'm not going to go into details, maybe another session. I just want you to just say yes. Just say yes to yourself. Just say yes to yourself. Enough of no, enough of I cannot, enough of those voices making you do a double take before you say yes. Just say yes. I mean, I always say, what's the best that can happen? I know think about what's the worst that can happen, but really, what's the best that can happen if you say yes? You either figure out that you can do it or you cannot do it, but at least you figure out something, right? Also, holding yourself accountable. I've realized most times where sometimes most of us say no quicker because we don't trust ourselves. And we don't trust ourselves because time and time again, we have let ourselves down. And so sometimes we say, this week I'm going to do X, Y, Z, but the week ends and we don't do X, Y, Z. Unconsciously, what we don't know is that we are breaking down the morale of ourselves to ourselves. So we are losing the trust we have in our capacity, in our ability. So I want you to hold yourself accountable, but not only that, you already have a community that can really help you hold yourself accountable. Like, let me know, reach out to me, put it on there, whatever it is, just literally hold yourself accountable. Because when you keep showing yourself that you can do X, Y, Z, that you're up to the task, guess what? Your confidence grows, you stretch yourself more, and you're not afraid to say yes. Third one is insert yourself. What I mean by insert yourself, I never ever want anyone to feel like, oh, I can't do X, Y, Z, it's not for me, or it's not for people like me. Who said that and who made the rules? Like, who made what rules? Never feel like you can't do whatever it is that you want to do. If you feel like this room is for me, go in there. Even if you feel like a stranger in that room, still go into that room. Like, the best way for us to grow is to put ourselves in experiences that we have never experienced before. Until you experience something, then it's almost like your mind synapse is open. You're like, oh, this exists. Oh, I can do that. But most time we're just in this square box because we don't know what's outside of it, and we see this thing passes by, this color passes by, because we haven't exposed ourselves to new experiences. So this summer, I'm challenging you to expose yourself to new experiences, just like what we've learned today. We're going to be going live. That's a new experience. We're going to be reaching out to LinkedIn Connection. That is a new experience. Holding ourselves accountable. That is a new experience. So please insert yourself. Don't close the door on yourself. I don't want anyone in this community to close the door on themselves. Open that door, kick that door down, please, and go into that room, whatever that room might be. Never be afraid of making mistakes or failing. Literally every week we should be asking ourselves, how did I feel this week? What mistakes did I make this week? Because you're either winning or you're either learning something, right? If we're not making mistakes, if we're not failing, if we're not going live and stammering, if we're not going live and stuttering, if we're not going live and our camera is upside down, guess what? We are not learning. So make that mistake, because the more you make those mistakes, the more you're absolutely getting better. Nobody became an expert overnight. People just tried new things. People went to volunteer with strangers, right? And before they knew it, the second event, third event, they met someone, and then that's how the confidence is building. You know, people just try new things. Now, put that skincare line out there. You just really never know. You might not get it, so you might get it, so I mean, we just don't know. Last but not the least, echo your win. Don't be afraid to talk about what you've done, how fantastic you are. We've learned from Paula's example. Toot your own horn, talk about it. When I ask questions like, what were your wins this week? There was something that you did this week. Please talk about your wins. It is your win. You worked at it. It doesn't care whether it's small, big. It's only small or big if we define it as that, right? And we define it as small or win because we're comparing with somebody else's win. No, it is your win. It's a win. It's a win. So I wanted to just really talk about this real quick. The acronym stands for SHINE. So say yes, hold yourself accountable, insert yourself, never be afraid of making mistakes, and absolutely echo your win. And if you're on here and you're not part of our mailing list, please join that. I'm going to put the links in the chat. Just for anyone who's on here and is not part of our community, I'll be super happy to have you join us. We want to do more of such sessions like this, even when we meet, in person, do more virtual sessions like this. Thank you all so much for being amazing, and being an amazing audience today. Does anyone have any other last minute question? And I want to just also thank Ji'Brayah so much. I mean, Ji'Brayah is already part of this community. I mean, she should know that actually. She doesn't, she should know that by now. You definitely see more, more of her. Absolutely. You know, I feel like there's more we can cover with this. LinkedIn is coming up, of course. The going live is another one. And it feels like summer is so short. Like I have more sessions than the amount of weeks in summer. So we're just going to take it one step at a time. And I'm super glad that we started this, and I'm looking forward to what this will also morph into. And I'm putting the links in the chat as well. Yes, that's her personal brand baddie. That's Ji'Brayah on there. You're absolutely welcome. You're absolutely welcome. Please let's connect as well. Put your LinkedIn on there. Put your Instagram on there. Let's build our community outside of this group as well. Tell other people, invite them, share the link. If you're getting so much from this, share the link with them as well. Let us also amplify the value you're getting from this group, because like I said at the beginning of the session, this is absolutely invaluable. On a Saturday morning, just having us have this space for ourselves. We're one blessed community for sure. All right. Any other question or thoughts before I let you all enjoy the rest of your Saturday? Thank you, Sierra, for joining. I hope to see you at more of our sessions as well. All right, that's all. Well, I am going to stop sharing the screen and the chat. You're welcome. All right, beautiful people, beautiful ladies. Thank you once again, and see you at the next summer development session.
Bye.
Bye.
Have a lovely day, everyone.
Thank you. Bye, everyone.
Thank you. Bye, everyone.